Welcome to my views and news. Main news stories for you from Ethiopia, Eritrea and Sudan. Wachamo University. First news stories from this university in the SNNPR. Clashes, tear gas firing, students severely beaten by security forces. Several graphic videos are being shared from Wachamo University. Secondly, Fano fighters have attacked Wellega, Horo Gudurru Wellega. Attack on a town in Horo Gudurru Wellega is being reported by some news sources. Civilian deaths are also being reported. How did Fano fighters manage to reach Horo Gudurru? Did they enter Horo Gudurru from Gojam, or are Fano fighters based in other parts of Wellega? Thirdly, Tigray Addis Ababa mayor arrived in Mekelle a few hours ago. She has announced 500 million Ethiopian birrs in cash for Tigray interim government. A big support for Tigray from Oromia. From Oromia, Addis Ababa mayor is Oromo. Fourthly, Eritrean Information Minister Yemane Gebremaskel yesterday lashed out at UN Special Rapporteur on Eritrea, Abdislam Babikar, who 2 days ago released a report about human rights situation in Eritrea. Yemane raised a technical point about this report. What did he say? And lastly, we are Sudan. First successful ceasefire came to an end this morning in Sudan. And now efforts underway for IGAD meeting due to be held on Monday. Before that, Burhan spoke a few hours ago. He talked to some African leaders, and in his talk, he talked about solution. He said he was ready for any solution to end the conflict. Is it a change in government's position? Because Burhan and some military generals refused to sit with Houthi and RSF. Is Sudanese government changing its position? Is it showing flexibility? Firstly, SNNPR, Southern Nations, Nationalities and People Region, Wachamo University, where security forces stormed the university. Students severely beaten. Security forces used force, they fired tear gas. Several graphic videos are being shared showing security officials, regional security officials severely beating Wachamo University students. What happened at the university? Well, it is being reported the university students tried to protest. They were protesting against exams when they tried to protest in the university. Outside university, university authorities called police, security forces came, and then there was this confrontation between security forces and students. Students were unarmed. Security forces refused to allow students to protest. They fired tear gas. Students were dispersed, but security forces chased students. Hostels were attacked. Security forces broke the doors. They broke into rooms of the students there, and dozens of students were arrested. We have several pictures, videos, graphic videos, pictures for you showing security forces severely beating students at the university. What was the crime committed by the students at Wachamo University? They were just protesting. Peaceful protest. They did not burn anything. They did not damage anything. They did not raise anti-state slogans. So what was their crime? Their only crime was that they wanted to protest, they had some grievances. Solution was that university authorities should have engaged the students. The two sides should have sit at the table and resolve the issues. But security forces intervened, and we know how security forces operate in Ethiopia. They obey no rules. The security forces, which are supposed to enforce rule of law, they don't obey any rules. And when they disperse protesters, they know only one means of dispersal, and that is use of force. That is what we saw in Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital, where Muslims tried to protest against demolition of mosques in Shagar city. The security forces refused to allow them to protest. They fired tear gas. They fired live bullets. 8 Muslims were killed. Same is happening. So it's a mentality of security institutions in Ethiopia that protests won't be allowed. Why? Because ruling parties, government backs this mentality. Government wants to crush dissent by force. Whether it is political dissent, dissent by common people, dissent by students, no one is allowed to speak freely. And even silent protest is not allowed. 2 days ago, you saw what happened, that in Addis Ababa at Guma Award ceremony, an artist appeared with makeup as if her lips were sealed and as if she had a bullet wound in her forehead. All was makeup. She was expressing her protest over restrictions on freedom of speech in Ethiopia. What happened? After that award, a ceremony organizer was arrested. He is still in prison reportedly. Same happening in Wachamo University. Dozens of students arrested and dozens fled too. When security forces fired tear gas, students fled too. Where are they? No one knows. Watch a video. I am not showing graphic part of the video, showing only the edited part. Several students injured, several arrested. Security forces beat students as if they were terrorists. Watch the video. Second video is second news story about an attack by Amhara militia members, Fano fighters in Oromia. The attack happened on Wednesday and it was carried out in Agamsa town, Amoro Voreda. Horo Gudurru Wellega is the name of the zone where armed fighters, reportedly from Amhara ethnic group, they stormed an area. 5 civilians were killed, dozens were injured. Does Fano have presence in Horo Gudurru Wellega? Well, Oromia region-based news sources say that these Fano fighters, they entered Horo Gudurru Wellega from East Wellega. They were in Haro. They were stationed in Haro. From Haro, they entered Horo Gudurru Wellega and they attacked farmers. Purpose of the attack was to expel farmers from the area. Fano fighters have presence in Haro, East Wellega, Kiramo as well in East Wellega. But these are mostly local Fano fighters. They are armed farmers. Both sides are armed in Wellega. Oromos are armed too. Amharas are armed too. There is presence of Ola Oromo Liberation Army. There is presence of Figade Abdisa's group. There is presence of regional forces, regional police. There is presence of Ethiopian Federal Police. There is presence of Ethiopian National Defense Force. And Oromia regional government, it has been trying to disarm Amhara farmers, which government calls which government has. These are not farmers, they are Fano fighters. Do these armed farmers have backing from the Amhara region too? Because close to Wellega there is Gojam. And in Gojam we are seeing that Skandar Naga is organizing Fano factions. We saw an operation against Skandar Naga's Fano fighters in Debre Ilyas. Debre Ilyas is not very far away from Wellega. Debre Ilyas, Bore are close to Wellega. You can reach Horo Gudurru from Bore, I think. From East Wellega, then West Wellega, you can reach Horo Gudurru. Fano fighters are trying to create a link, I think, between Gojam and Wellega. That is why Skandar Naga's Fano fighters are trying to organize in these border areas, Gojam, Gojam Oromia, Amhara Oromia border areas. We have seen massacres committed against Amhara people too in Wellega when OLA was accused of having carried out an attack on Amhara ethnic group members last year. Dozens were killed. OLA denied them. Some Oromia region's members of parliament accused Oromia government that Oromia government-backed militias were involved in massacre of Amhara people in Wellega. There are several players in Wellega and farmers, Amhara farmers are armed, Oromo farmers are armed too, there are security forces too. Issue is land basically. When you talk to groups in Oromia, from Oromia, in the private discussion they say that Amharas were brought here. They were resettled here. Now Amharas say that this area is there, that this area, Wellega, is part of the Amhara region. I've been saying that for peace in Wellega, government will have to involve all the players. Political players, militias, security institutions, armed groups, religious groups. That is the way forward. Otherwise, you'll keep on seeing these attacks. Both communities are suffering. Yes, Amharas are being massacred too. Oromos as well. You see that in this attack, reportedly, Oromo farmers were targeted by attackers from Amhara ethnic group, reportedly. Thirdly, viewers, Addis Ababa mayor arrived in Mekelle, Tigray, the capital today. Tigray region is in dire need of financial aid. Pretoria deal is being implementation delayed because Tigray government, federal government are facing a lack of funds. They're facing the problem of lack of funds. Demobilization, reintegration part is very slow. Rehabilitation of Tigray institutions also slow. International community dragging its feet, it seems. Addis Ababa mayor today announced a big support for Tigray region. Addis Ababa arrived in Mekelle this morning with her delegation. She was warmly welcomed by Getachew, Tigray interim president. She announced support of 500 million Ethiopian birrs for Tigray interim government. Support not in the form of investments but in the form of hard cash. That is what Tigray interim government needs. It needs cash. We saw talks between Mekelle and Addis Ababa representatives a few weeks ago in Addis Ababa. Talks were held. So we can say Oromia and Addis Ababa city, Oromia region, they are in the forefront. Oromia president is also announcing support. He sent something as well for Tigray, cash, tractors, support in education sector, etc. And now Addis Ababa mayor, who is an Oromo too. She is from, I think, Oromia. Tigray Oromo, Tigray Oromia alliance is strengthening. We cannot deny that. Since the signing of Pretoria deal, we've been seeing that the two sides are coming closer. When Getachew and his delegation visited Addis Ababa a few weeks ago, Oromia president invited them and they were warmly welcomed in Jimma, I think, if I am not wrong. Then Oromia president, other regional presidents, they visited Tigray. They announced financial support for Tigray interim government. I think this alliance is not just for rebuilding of Tigray. I've been saying that Tigray and Oromo ethnic groups, they are uniting, they are joining hands because they think that if they join hands, perhaps they can stop threats from the Amhara region, threats by some groups which want lion's share in power in Addis Ababa. This alliance will become stronger, though there are some issues, especially in Addis Ababa. In Addis Ababa, we know that Tigrayans were owners of main businesses, hotels, etc. When war broke out in November 2020, these businesses were taken over by the government or government-backed people. Now, Tigrayans want their businesses back. Addis Ababa government is there, obviously. What will the government do? Will it try to bring back Tigrayans to Addis Ababa? Will it hand over the businesses back to Tigrayans? That we'll see. But TPLF's properties, some in Addis Ababa, were also taken over by government after the war broke out. So there are some unresolved issues between Addis Ababa and Tigray too. Fourthly, viewers, Eritrean Information Minister Yemane Gebremeskel yesterday lashed out at Abdissalam Babikar. Abdissalam Babikar is UN Special Rapporteur on Eritrea. He was appointed Special Rapporteur by UN Human Rights Council. Periodically, he submits reports about human rights situation in Eritrea. Reports are categorically rejected by Eritrean government. Abdissalam Babikar was never allowed to visit Eritrea by Eritrean government, and 2 days ago Abdissalam Babikar published a report about human rights situation in Eritrea, and yesterday Yemane Gebremeskel criticized Abdissalam Babikar. Yemane says that the report was released by Abdissalam Babikar before submission to the UN Human Rights Council or relevant UN body, which is irresponsible. Yes, it is irresponsible. No one can release such reports before their formal submission to the forum where it is supposed to be submitted. Maybe it's because of Abdissalam Babikar's reports are rejected by Eritrean government, so he took it lightly. The Eritrean Minister Yemane called this report a diatribe, that gullible media outlets are sharing the contents of this report. Eritrea from day one, since Abdissalam Babikar was appointed as Rapporteur on Eritrea, has been taking the position that the reports by Abdissalam Babikar were a pack of lies. Abdissalam Babikar did make some mistakes in the past. He is the one who reported that Eritrea had deployed Somalia's under-training soldiers to fight in Tigray against Tigray forces, and Tigray leaders back then, Getachew Debretsion, also claimed that Somalia soldiers had been deployed to fight in Tigray by Eritrean government. Back then, Somalia soldiers were being trained by Eritrean military on Eritrean soil. Later, we saw that this claim by Abdissalam Babikar was incorrect. Somalia's new government of Hassan Sheikh denied these allegations, and we could not find any convincing evidence about the presence of Somalia soldiers, involvement of Somalia soldiers in Tigray war. Abdulsalam Babigar never made corrections, he never apologized. That is why he should be careful. He knows that his reports would be criticized by Eritrea. Why did he release the report before official submission to Human Rights Council? Yes, questions raised by Yemeni are valid. At the same time, no matter what Abdulsalam Babigar writes, the report will be rejected by Eritrean government. Eritrean government is not giving access to Abdulsalam Babigar. It is not defending. It is just saying report is a pack of lies. But human rights situation in Eritrea is definitely very poor. All sources report. There is no independent media there, just state-owned television, state-owned radio, state-owned newspaper. So who will verify what is happening in Eritrea if human rights organizations are not given access to Eritrea? Lastly, we are Sudan, where first successful ceasefire came to an end this morning. 24-hour long ceasefire came into effect on Saturday at 6 a.m. local time. It was fully implemented. No major violation was seen on the ground by rapid support forces or Sudanese military. First ray of hope that the two sides might reach some sort of understanding or a ceasefire agreement. Before this 24-hour ceasefire, American and Saudi mediators had warned RSF and Sudanese military that if anyone tried to violate the ceasefire, talks would be suspended and violators would be sanctioned. So that threat worked. Ceasefire was fully implemented. And now from tomorrow, we're going to see start of talks in Djibouti. IGAD is holding a major discussion there with involvement of African Union, UN representatives will be there too, and European Union also confirmed its participation in tomorrow's meeting in Djibouti of IGAD. This meeting is crucial because we know that Malik Agar, Sudan Sovereignty Council Vice Chairman, has been lobbying in African countries. He wants IGAD to play a major role in the resolution of this conflict. Though Saudi Arabia and America are taking the lead, they managed to make the parties agree on a 24-hour ceasefire, third ceasefire announced by them, but this one was completely implemented. A lot needs to be done, by the way. Even after ceasefire, talks will be held, talks will be monitored, mediated, agreement will be signed. Sudanese military wants greater role for African Union, IGAD in comprehensive dialogue. That's what happens on Monday. Before Monday's talks, Burhan showed flexibility. Yesterday, he talked to some African leaders and he said he was ready for any solution to put an end to the conflict in Sudan. It is a change in Burhan's position. Burhan, Sudanese military, they have been rejecting the idea of sitting with the rapid support forces. Now they are ready for any solution. Does it mean that Sudanese military is under pressure in Khartoum, Bari Mudarman? Militarily, it has lost the leverage. That is why it is ready to accept any solution. Well, flexibility should be welcomed. It means that Burhan has changed his position a little. But Burhan cannot make decisions alone. He needs support from Shamsuddin al-Kabashi, Yasser al-Atta, others, top members of Sudanese military. I think Monday's talks are very crucial. Ceasefire came to an end this morning. We'll try to update you tonight about what will happen in coming hours on Sunday. So far, intensity of fighting decreased drastically. No fighting yesterday, and I could not confirm any large clashes today as well so far. Thank you for watching.